end of year, 19.5%. Gersal DBG to provide 300 million Ghana cedis in agri financing for 2023. IMF induced austerity to drive down growth 2.3% according to a report. And whose report is that? We'll find out. Tears flow as Christian Achus returns, and I see the Mighty 5, Pink 5, the 5th Battalion of Infantry guys there trying to bring the body down. Private sector needs policy support to build wealth for Ghana. KGL Group Chairman Alex Adade appeals. Also, the banner headline, IGP Lords Education Minister for reform in the sector. And we're making giant strides in education reformation. Dr. Duchum, 5 weeks in school. This is not reformation, boss. You don't have textbooks. The Finder newspaper, coups are not panacea to Africa's problems. President Akufo-Addo, Nanakasa. Dr. Duchum touts progress of new education reforms in Ghana and UK. Renew pact on biodiversity protection and preservation. Abuja Napot there is the minister in a handshake with the King of England. I nearly said the prince, but I remember that he's now the king.
He's now the king. He's now King Charles.
King of England. And that should be a better hobby. Ellen, you miss the UK?
Well, they also have their problems. You know, the inflation has hit 10%.
No, I didn't ask you to tell me their problems. Do you miss the UK?
I do miss the UK.
That's right.
In it. You feel me? Anyways, the Republic Press this morning, of course, has beloved Christian Achu front and center. May his soul rest in peace. Tears flow for Achu. Republic Press has this as the banner story. You'll see that, of course, splashed across the different front pages. The president speaking here, coups, not a solution. Akufo-Addo charges. Johnny, this one, of course, was making the rounds on social media. And you see what's been happening in the West African region, in the Sahel.
Right.
Are we seeing more and more countries park this pseudo-democracy that we seem to be practicing in our part of the world? There seems to be some seeming thirst for coups,
right,
or for, you know, this democracy as we are practicing to be unsettled or toppled because of what we see.
If the leaders do the right thing, people will not clamor for that. If the people can find food to eat, their rent is sorted, water is available, they have electricity, they have some money that they can save, they won't clamor for it.
Yeah.
They only will clamor for it because they think that the people presently in charge are not doing the best. And we've seen the military, we've seen what they've done. We've seen this in 66 in this country.
Yeah.
We've seen 69, 72, we've seen 79, 81. We've seen what the military can do. They didn't do any better. If you ask me.
That's right.
You know, so the point is that democracy is the way to go. But if you have people who are only thinking of their stomachs in a democracy, it is no democracy. It is a homoswocracy, it is bureaucracy, it is enumdracracy, it is minimcracy, it is a hantancracy, it is a woyacracy, it is a didijacracy.
It is everything but democracy.
But democracy. And
we'll get into that story, of course, as we progress. We're making giant strides in the education reformation in Ghana. You see the education minister also pictured front and center. The Ghanaian Times says nation grieves for Christian Achu as remains arrive home for burial.
Okay. I've just been informed that Felicity Ahavianyo has joined us. Let's engage Felicity and then we'll get back to the headlines and we'll get into the conversation. Felicity, good morning. Felicity, good morning.
Good morning, F1.
What's the weather updates? You told us that the Hamatan would come. I doubted you for a second. Now, I'm sorry. I doubted you in the first place.
You have to do adverts for us. You have to look for sponsors for us for our Meteorological Awareness Month. That's starting on the 1st of March. Ending on 31st March.
I miss Reverend Steve Nyakote Kwao's TV poll on TV.
Okay.
What's the weather update for today? Are we to see more Hamatan?
Yes, the Hamatan conditions will remain with us. We're having it dry and hazy across the 16 regions with poorer visibility values. Temperatures in the afternoon will also be warm. For the north, we are expecting it around 36, 37. For the middle sector, around 34, 35. For the coastal strip, we are expecting it around 31 and 33 degrees Celsius. As we are all observing, the air is polluted. We are advising let's be drinking enough water, let's do less outdoor activities. Then also, I think this is the time that we should all go back to the nose masks that we were so tired of. I think it will help us in a way. For the fisher folks too, it's pretty okay for them to do fishing today, but then visibilities are very poor. We are expecting mist and fog patches too, which will compound their situation, so they need to be extra careful. The water leaks to similar conditions is expected, so we are advising that they should try as much as possible to be vigilant when they have to go onto the lake because of the fog. And then something that we call a smoke, S-M-O-G, which is likely to aggravate the situations that we find ourselves in. So let them be extra careful. All these conditions, we are expecting it to clear hopefully by the close of the week. So the heavier particles will start settling down. Then gradually we'll have the moist winds coming in. That will usher us into the hot season. So let's get our fingers crossed. So definitely we'll be up and be giving you the update.
Why do we have Harmattan in February? That's strange, is it not?
For most of us, yes, it's strange. But then if you check our climatological records, Harmattan starts from November and ends in February, and at times it extends it to March. But those of us along the coast, because of the moist winds that comes in, we don't normally see it towards the ending of January into February. But this year is going to be one of the classical events that has been happening over the last 30 or 50 or 60 years ago, where we have fleets covering the whole entire sub-region. And Nigeria is also in it, Benin, Togo, and then even Cote d'Ivoire is also in it. So it's something that we need to dig deep and see what is the actual cause of it, whether it's the same dust that is coming from our Sahel regions traveling down to the coastal strip.
I see. Your darling Helen has a question for you, Helen.
Felicity, good morning. Very quick one here. I've seen some reports floating on social media. I don't know whether it's simply fear-mongering or if it's something we need to avert our minds to. So there's a tweet I came across, and this lady says the air quality in Accra is 340, and it's rated as hazardous. When going outside, wear a nose mask, run an air purifier at home, especially for those with newborn babies, close windows, avoid any form of outdoor exercise. This seems quite extreme. Is this person right? Should we be very concerned about the quality of the air we're currently breathing?
Thank you very much. I think most people have been forwarding that to me. Currently, we're supposed to be measuring the air quality at the point of GMET, but we don't really have the equipment. I remember we have one, but I'm trying hard to see if we can have access, if it's still working. But I can't really tell. But on the normal day, dust is very hazardous to us because it's solid particles, very minute particles that we can easily inhale, or we're even inhaling it. So definitely some are settling into our lungs. I know the medical professionals will be able to tell us more. But in terms of the hazardousness, yes, we have the solid particles that we are inhaling. So definitely it will cause us some sort of harm. But the degree is what I can't really tell. We have other gaseous things that add to with like the carbon monoxide and the rest, but then we are not measuring, so I can't really confirm to that. But in terms of the dust, yes, it has hazardous, so we need to be cautious of it. And as this is that, I'm also advocating that we should all go back to the nose masks to protect ourselves for the time being, because we don't even know whether it's acidic. We don't know. So let's try as much as possible and then limit our outdoor activities for now until we confirm more, until we have the moist winds coming in to settle it for us. Then we can comfortably go back to our normal life. But for now, yesterday I went to the office to see if I can get hold of one or two things, but I'm not able to do much because I have to start coming back home. One thing I've spotted is identified a source in one of our eastern countries where this thing is coming from. So we need to dig deeper and then we come back. All these things, we need resources. Coming from
Felicity, did you say that you do not have the equipment to be able to analyze what Helen asked you?
Yes. For now, that's what I can say. But by today, that when I get back to the office, I'll be able to contact those that are in charge of our data collection to confirm to me. Yesterday, I was trying to get.
But what are they confirming if they don't have the equipment?
It may be there, but I don't know because I am more into the forecasting of the rain.
Felicity,
blah, blah, blah.
I have here.
Yes.
I know you're a government employed person. If the thing no day, it no day. If it day, it day. Like last week, the National Media Commission told us that their monitoring system is down.
Yeah.
If the thing no day, it no day. If it day, it day. Or I lie.
No, you are not lying. But what I'm telling you is that if you ask me now, I will tell you that we don't have the radar that we will use to determine the storms that are coming, whether they will result into floods and other things.
Right.
But when it comes to the air quality, I am not into that, so I will not be able to speak more. When it gets to the marine, that one I can comfortably tell you that yes, we don't have any.
So is there a machine for air quality testing at the Ghana Metro?
Yes, there was one before. That was the station at Abetifi. So yesterday I was trying to see if it's still functioning because it was there before I even joined the agency. So I don't know if it's still working.
But so if this is at Abetifi, can it cover the whole country, for example?
Yes, I was told it has the capacity to cover the whole country or even the sub-region. Yeah.
We hear you. We'll wear our mask. Thank you very much, Felicity.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Hey, Helen. William Esiedu of Current Memory. Welcome, 628. And every corner there's some small trouble that we have to fix.
Felicity has said on record that monies are owed by government and also
Ghana Airport
Company.
Yeah.
She mentioned that there's very serious equipment that must be replaced, the type of equipment that can inform farmers about scheduling, planting, and so on and so forth. So you see how all our problems are interconnected and interwoven. Without this machinery, that important information cannot go out.
Yeah.
Look at the situation we're faced with. And I asked her this because I'm sure we've all seen
I've
these
seen
forwarded
I
messages.
Saw it, yeah.
If you go on social media, there's a lot of fear-mongering going on, but some of that could also be legit. This is where the Ghana Met, having the right equipment, can step in and say, this is exactly what is going on.
Priority.
This is what we have to contend with. Wear your nose mask and so on and so forth. And they're on the back foot because they don't have the equipment. The equipment gets spoiled. They're not able to update it, change it, or repair it. This is a matter of public health. If we are currently breathing in very toxic air, we all need to know exactly what to do. I'm hoping that by the end of day today, government has some type of statement, some type of direction, or some type of information that we can all ingest so we can know our smoothness level. We cannot be walking around just ingesting any kind of air, not knowing what is going on.
Yeah. It's dangerous, and particularly when you have a health system that's not altogether sacrosanct. William, how are you?
Well, today is Monday.
It is.
And I would want to profile suggestions on this matter.
Perfect.
So, the last time we had this, I suggested that, look, the marketing team, if they have any, should get in touch with some of us. Come on air and do something. People who don't. Last week, I think Unia, one of us here, within 29 minutes, they raised 49,000 cedis for a certain cause. So I know the government will not bring money today.
Oh, William, why are you saying that about the government?
Because of the current situation.
Okay.
Just yesterday, the World Bank, the president himself, said 40 countries are under serious stress, and they mentioned Ghana. The presenter mentioned Ghana, Ethiopia, and Sri Lanka, but the World Bank president said he wasn't going to list. And we all know the current financial situation. So I'm just pleading with the team out there. If you have a marketing team or whatever team they have that does some of these things, they should get in touch with, look at the various organizations that can help and actually work there. And that's how we make name for ourselves. I'm not saying that the government's duty should be neglected.
That's where I'm coming.
But I'm looking at the current, as you have said, our health is at stake.
But that's where I'm coming.
Emergency.
William,
William,
what is our priority as a country? The people have to be alive to be able to pay taxes to support government. If the people are not alive to pay taxes, there will be no government without the people. Our government has consistently told us how they are more interested in constructing a cathedral. So for me, it doesn't make sense that people living on your taxes will now devote all their priorities to building a cathedral when the livelihood of the people are affected. It shows how clearly the president is aimed at mismanaging the country and feeling cool about it. William is asking that we support, and we will all support. But can you imagine that it becomes the norm instead of the exception? Then there's a problem. How much funds can we as citizens raise to buy these equipment which are supposed to be the crux of the business that these institutions run? Our National Media Commission does not have any monitoring system running. So if William today goes to report Johnnie Hughes or Helen Apiampofo of DJ Phil or 622 NMC, they do not have real-time data and recording to say, let's adjudicate the matter, that Helen is guilty or not. That is backward. More so when it is the European Union that brought us the machine to monitor about 40 stations. And we run it aground. People donate MRI machines, whatever it is, incubator. We run it aground. So the monies that they collect from us, and I will say it again, my tax is bigger than my tithe. The monies that they collect from us, what exactly do they use it for? Because the things that are of essence, like what you spoke about, which is affecting us, which could let people die, we are not able to buy it. But we have so much money to do all other things. What is wrong? Who bewitched us? Who?
Johnny, the answer is this. I'm saying that the government, as we've known it, if it's a matter of health and death, like Helen said, I'm looking at mitigating the situation while we also push the government to do the needful. Because see, Kolebu, the NICU,
at the Children's Department.
At the time it was so. See, the situation was so dire.
No incubator. They had to use fluorescent lights. To keep the children warm, preterm babies warm. So I saw it.
Yes, and then it was the same strategy that I'm putting on the table today that got them some incubators.
That's right. That's right. Even before Safer
exactly. So
My Love Foundation.
Exactly, and it was some. After that some individuals started going in. So I'm saying that we should, as for the government, if you follow the government.
but William, you see, so we will mention Sefakai, we'll mention Makini Abose, we'll mention all the others who brought incubators.
Yeah.
Has the situation changed? I took somebody to deliver at Kolebu last year. This is a good friend of mine whose wife was pregnant. We went into Kolebu. That whole NICU, the down floor, the lights were off.
Goodness me.
The doctors were sitting on chairs without this, the backrest. The doctors and the midwives who would receive the child. The mothers who were in labor were lying in rooms that had no lights.
Right.
And then it was hot. And then when it rained, the place got flooded from top and bottom. So when you tell me that we need to contribute, yes, I agree. But what is the government's own commitment to making sure that the citizens are well taken care of. Mind you, Kolebu is a colonial relic. Kolebu, 1923, was when Gordgesbeck and his people built Kolebu because they thought that we needed something that is at the same standard with what we have in Manoni. And they brought that here. How have we even managed Kolebu? When Kolebu was handed over to us, we had a gas plant that people could get oxygen. We had all of those ones, right? Today, is Kolebu able to generate its own oxygen for patients in the wards? The infrastructure is there. Is Kolebu able to do that?
So, Johnny, the answer is this again. We're asking how have we been able to run Kolebu? And I'm saying that it has been what you're saying on the side of the government and what I'm saying on the side of the private sector. Because every day you go to Kolebu, people are making donations. People are fixing things. In fact, there are some words that have been adopted by individuals. And,
right. Awake has adopted cardiothoracic and all of that.
You know how calls to government takes time. So I'm putting it on the table that when we have a crisis situation like this, let's use some of the faster modes, if you like, through the private sector, and then fix it.
But William, that is what is making our government irresponsible.
Well, I agree.
Not this government.
I mean, 120,000%.
Not this government.
Yeah,
I'm saying that governments before this, because they always assume that somebody will donate if we fail to do it.
That's right. And at a time where the president is talking about coups not being a solution, and we all join in that call very strongly. But if at every point in time where the citizens need assistance, we have to mobilize and get together, then at some point we can't see the usefulness of government. What can government really do for me? Does government have a place in my life as an individual?
It doesn't.
And then you start to foster resentment. Look at the teeming youth that have nothing to do, nowhere to channel their energy. So we see an influx of what we're told could be terrorists, jihadists, and so on and so forth. What type of patriotism is there if at every time you need assistance, you have to mobilize?
I think that the government at this point is scared, is paranoid. The government is scared. Sometime last week we heard see something, say something.
That's right.
And then they started sending messages to us after how many months of break, after picking ambassadors who were giving monies to go and trumpet whatever. And then now we're hearing, see something, say something. Text messages were sent to us. I received one.
I've received a few, actually.
Now, I'm saying that the government is paranoid and scared because you listen to the government and they keep telling people that coup is not the option. It gives you an indication that the government knows that things are not well. But you see, in acknowledging that things are not well and in saying sorry, there are three elements. Number one, you must acknowledge that there's a problem, which the government has done. Number two, you must say what part you played in bringing the problem. And number three, you should be able to tell us what you are doing to get out of the problem. The government says we're going to IMF. The government admits that there's a problem, but the government has not owned up to its contribution to the mess we find ourselves. And there's a history to always guide us. 1966, 69, 72, 79, 81. What were the issues? I am not reinventing the wheel of history. William is older than us. He can tell us. The economic situations were...
You know my age.
Well, but you are grey.
Why is it grey is age?
You are grey. I'm saying that the situations that existed then, which made people even think of coups. And I've said here on record that the military came, but they didn't do any better. So if we keep saying that coups are not the best way to go, yada, all of those ones, how are we making sure that people don't even start thinking of those things?
The reason is this. In our part of the world, we've seen democracy as just the practice of electing in and voting out.
That's right.
Individuals.
That's right.
The whole concept of democracy is to give us liberty and prosperity. You understand? That's why there's a constitution. But there are a lot of democracies that are not constitutional democracies.
No.
There are some people, they'll go, look, some countries they vote, but they more like, even in China, they say they call themselves a party. They're communist party.
That's right.
So they have some semblance of democracy.
Chairman Mao.
You see, so at the end of the day, I'm saying that our democracy, we have not understood what we are looking for as a people when it comes to democracy. But it is for us to use the constitution as the supreme law to limit the authority of the individuals who are leading us to use the resources to the benefit of all.
But William,
and so to get them there, we don't have to go through the barrel of the gun, but through the ballot box. But when we get there, we are supposed to use the laws of this country to check so that the resources are not wasted.
But William, you see, state institutions like the National Media Commission, they have told us what their problem is. They are suffering. In Baumia's voice, the National Commission for Civic Education, NCC, they are suffering. The one under information, what is it called?
Information Services Department,
ISD, they are suffering. But they have paused, they have money to go and award government PROs. Right? So all these institutions that are supposed to be imbibing in the minds of the people what their civic responsibilities are and how they should demand for what is due them and what they can contribute to the country to make it stand have been run aground. Check NCC. NCC is not a profit-making organization. When they present a budget to say this is our plan for the year 2023, we want to educate people on A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. We cut the budget. Again, it goes back. We have money as much as 80 million, 400 million to build a cathedral. So the people are not even aware and very well enlightened on what essence democracy plays in their life. So when you start telling them that coup is not the option, but you're also not giving them a reason to believe in democracy and to stand by it and to understand it and to tell others about it, you are setting yourself to fail, up to fail.
Our president says that we need to be active participants in this democracy. He says
right.
Citizens, not spectators.
But plagiarize, though.
Can he sit back when he thinks of his legacy and say that he's given us the tools that we need to be citizens and not spectators? At every turn, as I mentioned, you have to mobilize. You have to do it for yourself.
Yeah. The kind of democracy we are running, for me, the constitution itself is not a democracy that looks to spread the national wealth or cake among everybody. Because if you have a constitution that says that Supreme Court judges and other public officials will retire on their salary, that's number one.
Article 71.
Everybody who goes to parliament will have a certain ex gratia. That's number two. The president, the executive president, is literally free to spend,
indemnified
to spend so much, to the point that we have so many individuals in his office. Just yesterday I was reading some of the offices at the presidency, and you marvel what they do there. So the constitution must tighten the laws to protect the national purse, because President Kufuor cannot tell me as a person that he will protect the public purse. It's the constitution, the laws of the state that must, and the laws of the state must compel him. It shouldn't be a personal promise.
That I will.
Yeah, you can't.
I shall protect the public.
I mean, if he doesn't do it, you can't take him to court.
And so far, the president has proven that he is not protecting the public purse.
So if the constitution, the laws of the state, look at the wealth of the state and says, look, this is what the law is going to be used to spread it evenly. Why do we mine gold in Obuasi? You go there, it's so dusty. You go. I did my national service in Dompim, Pepesa, Wasa. They have a lot of gold, timber, everything is there.
But they are very, very poor.
Yes. The infrastructure is not there because the constitution that we are running, the democracy that we are running, is not pushing anybody to do something for the people. So it is when you get there as a politician that you begin to enjoy life.
I'm concerned about what we teach the children in school. Per social studies these days, I don't know if they still do that.
Yes,
civic education, and we're teaching the children to be patriotic. We're teaching them to respect law and to be orderly. But what are we giving back to the children? For 5 weeks, the children have been in school. Education Minister is starting the progress of the new education reform.
That's right.
The reform includes the change in curriculum. And there's not been a textbook. So what exactly is he celebrating as a doctor, a PhD holder who runs a school in the USA? What exactly is he celebrating? Because you need the books to teach and to learn. you don't have textbooks for a curriculum that you supervised to change for more than 4 years on. So what exactly is Mr. Duchum, honorable process, as I like to call him? What is he celebrating?
You talking about celebration?
What is he celebrating? What
talking about celebration, on the back page of the publisher, the chief executive officer of the Youth Employment Agency.
Right.
That's not the private enterprise.
Why here?
Youth Employment Agency.
Right.
There's a full-page color advert congratulating him on a successful 6 months in office.
And sponsored by who?
As I can see, it's the Youth Employment Agency that is there. I don't see any private enterprise signing this advert. So this must be investigated.
You know,
even if it's free, it's not on. Why do you celebrate somebody for being
in office for 6 months?
In office for 6 months. Congratulating him on his 6 months in office.
We have an affinity for the frivolous. The things
That's what I'm saying.
that are not necessary.
So if
I like the affinity.
Thank you.
You're bending too much.
The mediocrity is so much. In fact, it's not so. It's too much.
We have to go, guys. Johnny's by the